Hey everyone, it's John. Welcome to the Best Damn Podcast. I am your host. I would like to thank you guys for joining me. Ask that you please follow and check us out www.spreaker.com/user/Best Damn Podcast. Also, check out the Best Damn Podcast.tv. Follow me Instagram at Best Damn Podcast, Twitter at The Real Best Damn, and wherever you're watching from, please make sure to follow, subscribe, hit the thumbs up, leave a comment, let me know what you think, and share. The best way to help me out is by sharing these links. That way, new people can find us and new people can see us. Also, we are at the start of a new month, so we are viewer powered. Please consider donating, supporting the channel. You can get access to exclusive content and many, many more things by going to PayPal, Venmo, Patreon, Cash App, or Facebook Messenger Pay. And in light of recent events, I just had my computer, I got it sitting next to me. I've been working on this thing for 2 days trying to replace parts and just all kinds of stuff, and it's just not happening. I started a couple of fundraisers and I'm trying to raise funds to get help and be able to purchase a new computer so we can continue to create the content here on this channel and, well, a lot of the other channels as well. Basically, our Facebook content, live content, YouTube content. I mean, a whole bunch of the channels that we use to pin on having that availability. And just because of the nature of this year and the way that things have been, I just don't have stacks of money lying around or anything like that. Imagine that. I don't have stacks of money lying around. So if you enjoy my work, our work, and you enjoy the content that I create, and you appreciate this channel, you appreciate this community, please consider donating and supporting and helping me raise the funds to be able to purchase a new PC. I've set some goals on the fundraisers through PayPal and Facebook, but I set them higher than what I even anticipate to get if we get much of anything. But you can also do it the old-fashioned way. All of the links are in the description below, and we've already had a couple of people give a little bit, so that's awesome. So thank you to you guys that have done that. I definitely, definitely appreciate that, and it's a start. So that's all we can do, right? Is try. Which kind of brings me to tonight's topic, right? Tonight's subject. I know it's late as fuck, and um, wherever you're at, let me say what's up to Stool Perger. Looks like we have Stool Perger, Shelly Philippi, Matt Kozniak. Sorry, guys, I'm looking at something behind this camera, actually. Up yours 73. Yeah, and this is a huge reason. Like, there's quite a few things that have been going on. So, all right. Um, I asked the question, when is it time to walk away? Um, guys, that I'm one of those weirdos that I get into tarot cards, dreams, right? Synchronicities. I'm a super spiritual cat, even though I'm very worldly in some ways, right? I think all of us have our carnal defects or our carnal weaknesses, and I definitely have mine. But when it comes to decision making and when it comes to my life and the direction I'm heading in and all of those things, right? I definitely rely on things like that. Matter of fact, that's what led me to start doing this in the first place. Back in 2015, I believe it was, I had a dream slash vision. Um, I wasn't a religious person. I was actually an atheist before I started this. And I ended up, my best friend had passed away, and I tried to speak to him, right? We had like this agreement. So he meant a lot to me actually. His name was Kevin, and when he passed away, we had this agreement that whoever died first, the other one would try to talk to them, right? So that's what I did. I waited one day till the mother of my kids, I was with her back then, was not home. She went to her mom's with my boys and stuff like that. And I was home alone, and I used a digital audio recorder. And I tried to speak to my best friend, and when I said, tell me your name, I heard three knocks on the wall. I felt a big gust of air, and I played it back, and it was his name, right? It was like Kevin, and I mean, it was him. I was excited, um, but it didn't turn out to actually be him. It was a demon that had tricked me, and I kept trying to talk to my friend because I thought it was, and it eventually showed itself through night terrors, hitting me, scratching me, slapping me. I mean, it killed like three of my fucking cats. This went on for a straight year. I was absolutely terrified to go to sleep, and me being a grown man, right, at this time. But I didn't believe in none of that stuff. But after experiencing it, I knew that if demons were real, well, then God was real, right? And I remember feeling so helpless, and I started going to church too because, I thought I got to do something, right? Um, the pastor at the church I was going to would not come over and get this thing off of me for whatever reason. And I hated that feeling that I was having to depend on someone else to, like, save my soul, save my ass. So, to make a long story short, a Pentecostal preacher, a friend of the family, ends up doing it, right? He's losing his church, by the way. His shit's getting shut down. They don't have enough money to continue the ministry. It's done. Nonetheless, he still comes over and he does it. He brings like his wife, the friend of the family, and me. And he puts a little oil on me. We hold hands in a circle, say a prayer, and as he's saying this prayer, I mean, this wasn't theatrics. Like I said, I was not a believer of anything really. I knew demons were real at this point. Um, I started panting like a dog, as he was saying the words. Not nothing Exorcist movie crazy, but just kind of like, you know, involuntary. Needless to say, it removed this demonic attachment. And remember that he was invoking the name of Jesus, right? So I thought there's something to this Jesus guy, right? Like I'm going to church. I'm in. I want to find out. So after going to church for about a half a year, something like that, um, I started having questions. I was doing maintenance for the pastor at the church back then, right? Like I'm pretty fresh out of prison, and the dude was trying to help me out by giving me work and shit like that. I had a family, and I asked him one day if God was an alien, right? Because ancient aliens and shit was coming out. It was like kind of big back then, like it was popular. Uh, and he got angry. He got angry and kind of like scolded me for even asking the question. Well, as time went on, I had more and more questions. So I asked him. Needless to say, anytime it was a question he couldn't answer, I was put in this position to where I was bad because I didn't just believe blindly. Like you have to have faith, John. Right? It's like, well, faith that's not good enough for me. You know what I mean? There's got to be an answer. There's got to be an answer, and I want to find it. So I went home. Once again, I'm like by myself, um, and I just wanted to change like my life. I wanted to change my life. I wanted to be a good person. I wanted to be a better person. My kids were really small, a better dad, a good dad, those kind of things. So I thought, you know what, I'm gonna give this a shot, and um, I'm gonna go to God. So I prayed, and it was probably the most sincere prayer I've ever had. because back then I didn't know all the shit I know now. Like I was just, it was like an innocent prayer. I don't know how to explain it, and it was true. It was real. I thought I'm going to give it, everything I have and truly believe. And I was humbled too. I had no ego about me approaching, this God here. And I told him, I said, you know, I want to know, I want to know the truth. I want to know the truth about everything. I want to know the truth about Jesus. I want to know, the truth about our world, like all of it. I want to know. And I even made a statement because I was just talking to him like me and you, right? And I'm like, if you made me, then you know how curious I am. And you know I need answers to be able to believe. And that if you gave them to me, I would I would die for you, like I would die for you. And I knew that I wanted to do something that was more important than what I was doing. You know, by this point, I was like the engineering manager at a hotel chain, um, but it didn't fulfill me at all. Right? I had the wife, kids, picket fence, all that shit. It didn't fulfill me. I loved my children, and they were my joy, but all the other things didn't. And I told him, I said, if you would use me in the most powerful way, I'll give you my life. I'll give you my life, you know? And sure enough, like 2 weeks go by, nothing, right? I thought, well, that was some bullshit. And I even said to God in the dream or in the prayer, I said, you never talk to me, like you did Adam and Eve or any of these other guys in the Bible, like just, show me. Like I need something to know you're real. 2 weeks go by, I'm by myself, and I like drift off during the day. I got off of work early, and I had this strange ass dream. And it wasn't like a dream. It was weird. It's like a vision, a dream, a memory. I just can't explain it because you don't have those all the time. And when I had this thing, I heard these words in my head, and the beast of the earth and the beast of the sea shall come together. I feel like I've heard that before, right? Like is that the Bible? I hadn't read the Bible at this point, especially Revelations. It scared my ass. So then I see Barack Obama and Pope Francis, and they're like shaking hands, and they're on a TV screen. And then scrolling across the bottom, it says, Pope Francis comes to America. I wake up. I wake up and I'm like, what the fuck was that? That was weird, man. That was weird. It kind of freaked me out a little bit. So I walk into the living room, and I usually just sat around all day watching Sports Center when I got off work. I mean, about the most normal person you could think of then. I flip on the TV, and lo and behold, the very first thing that turned on was that scene. Kind of different though, but it was Barack Obama and Pope Francis. And this time, though, across the bottom of the screen, it says, Pope Francis comes to Philadelphia. I'm like, whoa, like, whoa, like, what does this mean? I couldn't even wrap my head around what had just happened. I didn't know then, but I know now that Philadelphia just so happens to be one of the seven churches in the book of Revelations and the only church that God doesn't have a problem with, right? When he's talking about all these different churches, the church of Laodicea, right? You're neither hot nor cold, you're lukewarm, so I'll spew you out of my mouth. Philadelphia was the one he didn't have a problem with. Now, looking back, hindsight being 2020, right? I think it was showing me, these powers kind of coming together, and that this end phase that we're in was beginning, right? The beasts were coming up and we were beginning. And we now know, looking at other things, Barack Obama was BOB 13013, right? Like he had very big significance in the Illuminati card game. Francis as well, Jesuit, right? A lot of people don't know this, but most do, right? Obama's wife, right? And the Queen of Sodom thing because of the trends, um, all of this, right? Like, so I didn't know any of these things, and I didn't know that when everybody was chanting, yes, we can, right, on his election shit, that when you reverse it, it says, thank you, Satan. I had no clue of any of these things. But to me, looking at it now, it was God showing me, this is how I'm going to come to you, right? This is how I'm going to come to you. And yeah. So 2 weeks later after that, I have another dream. And then this time, um, it was far more intense, I guess, you could say. But in this dream, I'm in this building or something, right? It's like tattered, it looks like war had been taking place or something. And I think war because that's what it felt like in my mind. Like if you've ever seen buildings like kind of rubble on Call of Duty or something, that's what it kind of looked like smoky walls and shit like that. And I was in this building and we were all hiding. It was a building full of people. And I'm standing up on something to be able to look out the window. So I'm looking out the window and I keep turning around and telling everybody in the room what's happening. Now, you know, I wasn't Mr. YouTube then or anything like that. I had started an audio podcast, um, but nobody really listened to it, man. You know what I mean? I wasn't on all the platforms. I had never went viral. None of that shit, man. Um, so I didn't know that it was kind of showing me, like, I would be telling people, that type of thing, or at least I think that's what it meant. Then all of a sudden, the sky, I look out the window again, and the sky turns blood red, like blood red. I instantly had this feeling and knew that it was the end of the world, right? Like this in a dream for some reason. And when it happened, I had like this crazy feeling, like a feeling of fear, because I could feel just the darkest, strongest evil I've ever experienced. Now, in the dream, my boys were with me, my children, and one of them tugs on my shirt, and they felt it too. And he says, "Daddy, I want to get out of here. I don't like it here." And before I could even turn around, I already had knew what had happened for some reason. And I'm like, "I know, son." And when I turn around, everybody that was in that building with us, that I was telling, what was happening and what was going on, they changed. Their eyes were solid black and they became demonic, like totally demonic. There was no human left in them. They became demonic totally. And half of the room was like overcome by uncontrollable fear. Like they were just hysterical with fear. And the other half was like insane violence, and that type of, darkness. And when I walked out of the room, for whatever reason, the whole room just did this. It like parted, like the Red Sea type shit as we walked through. It was almost like they were repelled, like they couldn't touch us. But I felt, like with my whole heart, I felt that every last one of them wanted to kill us. Like they wanted to badly. But for whatever reason, they could not. They couldn't touch us. We walk out of the building, and the next thing you know, I walk under this giant arch, big arch, man. Um, Really strange, I know, but when you look at the Bible and what the firmament is, an arc, an arch, right? That's another word for firmament. So who knows, right? Like, or was it symbolizing some type of arc of another kind, right? Like, who knows? Like Noah's type shit, right? So I'm like looking around, and you know what was weird about it? I wasn't in Cincinnati, Ohio, in the dream. I was somewhere else, and the buildings almost looked like Roman buildings or something. You know what I mean? Like I was in old Roman times, or you know what I mean? That's like almost what it felt like. Um, really strange, right? Not all of them were like that, but a lot of them were. And I was looking around, at what was happening because I knew that it was the end of the world, right? Like I knew it for whatever reason, I knew it. Um, And when I looked around, like my vision, I scanned around to like look at the people, and it was the most, I mean, disturbing thing I think a person could ever witness or see. And to this day, it's like burned in my mind because of how bad it scared me in the dream. Um, every single person that I seen, every single person that I seen was just overcome with uncontrollable insanity and fear. They were diving out of off of buildings and killing themselves. Cars were just running off of the roads and running people over everywhere. People were just walking, blowing their heads off. Like, I mean, I'm walking through like a sea of this shit, right? And everybody's doing it. They're killing each other. Um, some of them are just hysterically bawling, like going crazy because they're so fucking scared. I have never seen a fear like that and a terror like that. I don't have a word or a description for the terror. Honestly, it fucking freaked me out. Okay, I've never seen nothing like that. Um, but they everybody too, everybody. I didn't see one person who wasn't like that. Matter of fact, and keep in mind, I just came out of a room full of people that turned into demons when the sky turned blood red, and then I see this, and it was everywhere. So next thing you know, for whatever reason, my attention gets drawn over, and I want to say that would probably be like it would be the east or the west. I don't know. I was in a dream, right? So I'm looking over the horizon, and it was to the left of where I'm looking, like all the way far left, almost like it was on the other side of the world type shit. And I could see off in the distance just fireballs, like raining down. And it always reminded me of when you're in torrential rain and how the rain gets so hard that it rains sideways. That's what it was doing with these fireballs right on the other side of the world, right? And they didn't look like your normal everyday fireball, though. And I'm starting to think now, just because, knowing a few things or thinking I know a few things, that they could have been like plasma or something raining down. They could have been made of plasma. I don't know if they were meteors. I don't know if they were bombs. I don't know what they were, but I'm leaning towards plasma because some of them had like they had like a whitish, like kind of a electric glow to them as they were all raining down. It was wild, and I mean you couldn't even see nothing but them raining down too. There was that many of them. Anything that was on the surface, wherever they were at, there would have been you would have been turned to dust or putty. There'd be nothing left. There would have been nowhere to hide. You couldn't have got deep enough in underground to hide from them either. So then my vision kind of scans back more towards, where I was at. And on the horizon, I seen like pieces of the earth floating up into the sky in slow motion, like they were in space. And as I looked down more, I seen this giant moon, like it looked like our moon, but it was brown, right? It was brown looking, like a rusty brown though, and it had hit the earth. Like it had already hit when I seen this, right? So I didn't watch it hit or anything like that. I didn't feel it hit. Maybe that's why all the buildings were fucked up. Maybe that's why we were hiding. I don't know, right? I don't know. But I seen this thing like still, like almost where it had hit at, right? I think it had already hit and like floated off a little bit, and it was cracked, like cracked into like four pieces, but they were still almost together. They were floating apart slowly, like slow motion. And there was giant pieces of the earth like going in both directions, like from an impact. And I didn't know then, but I later found out that in the Colburn, it says a new moon will appear in the sky before being cracked into pieces, before being broken into pieces at the coming of the destroyer. Just saying, right? I seen that in the vision. So finally, and by this point, guys, like, I'm in like a third person view. So I'm like watching myself. Really strange. My view changes. I go from, at one point being in myself. And when I walked under the arch, I went to a third person point of view where I was like looking at myself head on. And then all of a sudden I switch and I'm behind myself, watching me and my kids and all of this. And what's really wild about it is I'm like looking behind myself and I'm screaming at myself as I'm watching this dream, like, why aren't you running? Why aren't you running? Because everybody was running. Everybody was running, like for their lives. And next thing you know, I looked off in the distance and I could see what looked like a reddish, orangish, kind of fiery fucking ball. It was like off in the distance. It was like far away. And then the next thing you know, it came up from underneath us and it was not far away anymore. It was like 1 second, I seen it like off in the distance in the sky. And then the very next second, it was like boom, just right up from underneath us. And this fucking thing, man, I'm telling you, it was terrifying. It covered like 2/3 of the sky. So like the whole horizon, you couldn't see nothing but this planet. It was that big. I mean, there was no sky left. It covered it all. And when I looked at it, I can remember even thinking in my head, like, it looked like Jupiter. That's what it looked like. I don't think it was Jupiter for whatever reason, but in the dream, right, it was like a darker, kind of like a darker version, like deep red, right? And it was striped just like Jupiter, man, just like Jupiter. Looked identical, but like a darker, deeper red, and it had a little orange and shit in it too, and even black. There were like black spots on it. So as I'm staring at this giant planet, basically, waiting on the end to come, I'm in the view behind myself. And at the time, I only had two sons, okay, two boys. But on my left hand side, I had like a small kid, and he was on my hip. And then there were two other boys that were next to me. One's like grabbing onto my pants leg, and the other's like grabbing onto my arm because they were scared. They were all clinging onto me. And I'm holding hands with a female, a woman, right? And on her side, there was like a young little girl, like a little one, little um, toddler, maybe three, 2, 3. It's what it looked like. Maybe younger, maybe a little older. I don't know, right? It's a dream. And I can only see the back of all of us, like, and we were kind of like silhouetted. So everything was almost black or dark, from the silhouette. And when I looked up at this planet and my attention went to this planet, When this thing was in the sky, the next thing you know, I heard, just like the first dream, everything that can be shaken will be shaken. And then boom, the whole earth just starts. I mean, it wasn't an earthquake. I have no frame of reference to, to even to give you like what that was. But every building that I've seen, they look like sand castles being knocked down. They just crumbled like sand. All of them, though. I mean, trees, nothing could stand. And the people, when I'm like looking around at the people, as it's shaking so hard, and it was everywhere. It was the whole earth. It was somebody picked up the earth and shook it as hard as they could and wasn't stopping. The earth was like cracking and opening up in places. And like people were falling in the cracks and shit. And they were running. And next thing you know, like pieces of the buildings were collapsing and falling on them. Or they would just disappear by falling in these holes, right? These, holes opening up everywhere. And they were so scared, so scared. And I'm standing there. And like I said, I only had two kids when I dreamed this. I now have three, just saying. And possibly, I don't know if it's, mine or not. Um, and all three of mine are boys. Uh, but there's a possible chance I might have a little girl on the way too. Um, and if it's not mine, who knows? Maybe I meet somebody or something with a little girl or something to that effect, right? But I'm just saying these are like weird, strange things, guys. Like you can't make them up. And anybody who's watched me and you see me back in 2015, 2016, I haven't changed it up any. So how does all of these things happen, to kind of fill it, weird. Um, and as everything is shaking and shit, like what I thought was really crazy about it was I wasn't, I wasn't budging. Like I was standing there and I was scared as fuck. I was terrified. And my kids were next to me and whoever was holding my hand and their kid, or maybe my kid, who knows, um, are standing there from the back, and none of us are moving an inch. We're like standing there, just holding hands, looking up at this thing. That's it, right? That's it. Everybody else is dying. And I divert my attention back up to the planet, and I heard a voice. And this is the craziest part of it all. This is what really fucked me up about the whole thing. If it already wasn't enough at this point, right? And I don't know if it came from the planet itself, but I felt like it came from behind the planet. And it was this big, booming, powerful voice. And when it spoke to me, not only did I hear it inside of my mind, the words like rattled my bones. Like I felt it vibrate all through my being. And I heard it audibly with my ears all at the same time. And when the voice hit me, I was no longer, like in my bed. I'm standing up in the middle of my fucking hallway. Like, I don't know how I got there either. And I collapsed to the floor because the voice was so powerful. My legs turned to noodles too when it hit me. And the voice only said three words. It said, "Trust God, John." Right? So I got what I asked for. I got the proof. I got him to speak to me. And I got him to show me everything too. Right? And I told him if he would use me in the most powerful way that I would give him my life. And I have. Right? And I have. Um, when I heard the voice though, and I was like in this, you know, puddle of myself here, collapsed in the hallway. Um, I remember when the voice hit me because I was so terrified at all I was seeing. I remember when the voice hit me though, there was just this feeling of pure peace, man. Like a peace I can't even describe. Like like if you if you feel it, you miss it. Like, because it's that powerful. Like like I knew, like whoever this voice was, like that they were in charge and that it really everything was gonna be okay. Like and they were showing me like, you know, you're gonna see this, but it's all right, you know, I got you. And I tried to ask questions. I tried my hardest, um, because I'm a curious one, and I couldn't really form words because I was so shook up from the voice. I was just stuttering and trying to get words out, like "Duh, duh, duh, duh." Like I was fucked up, and tears were just pouring out of my eyes uncontrollably. Like I wasn't crying, but they were just pouring out of my eyes. And I'm trying to get myself back on my feet, you know. And the only words that even would form or come out of my mouth was "thank you." I'm like, "Thank you," and I'm like crying and shit. I'm like, you know, and the mother of my kids ends up walking in. I mean, a few minutes later, and she's like, "What's going on?" You know, I looked like a psycho. Um, I told her, and then about 2 weeks later, she ends up showing me a picture online that she found, and it was this little tiny red dot somebody had taken a picture of, and they caught it Nibiru, right? So I knew, like, I'm like, okay, this is it. By this point, I was doing podcasting, but I was doing TV spoilers. I was spoiling The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones. I had movie directors, producers, comic book creators. It was really cool and it was fun. And my girlfriend helped me. I had a partner named Justin, a different Justin, um, back then, and I had sponsors even, insurance companies and shit of all people, right? I had those kind of sponsors, and once it all happened to me, it changed me so much that I started reading the Bible, and I couldn't get enough. Like I couldn't put it down. I've always had this ability to remember statistics and shit like that just really good. And I could tell you every sport, who's leading and what, and who's the all time leader, the wins record, like probably still, because I retain everything like that, you know. And I would win geography bees, spelling bees, all of that through school because of, all that shit. And I was really creative too before. I did instrumentals and produced music, for years. And I was in gifted and talented for my artwork. Uh, I won a national contest in first grade and wrote a book. Yeah, weird shit. Then I was recruited by the Navy at 19 years old for my IQ and was given a top secret clearance, and was put in this program for a year, for them, right? And then I ended up going off into some, bad stuff, and I went to prison and just all of it, man. And when I got out, I wanted a family, and I thought that that would be good for me and shit. And that was the route I chose. So I had to stop doing the music lifestyle and all of that, and I wanted a way to express myself still. So I chose podcasting, right? I thought, well, I can still do, because I love the production side of everything. I thought I can still do that, and I can still be a grown up. Um, and that, that's what ended up happening. And what was crazy about it was after this experience, I became really spiritual, reading every book I could get my hands on and remembering it all. And I started stringing them together in my head, right? I started stringing them together in my head and saying, hold on a second, this book sounds a lot like this book, right? And I'm trying to put these puzzle pieces together of this whole story, right? I mean, it took years to do, but that was the beginning. And I couldn't stop, guys. I couldn't stop if I tried, right? Like, if my girlfriend got mad because I was always on the computer and stuff, like, I would sneak like a junkie or something. I'd be in the bathroom, like, trying to read and shit. Like, I was that bad. I was hooked. Um, so I started this little segment called the Red Pill, and we did like Pizzagate and all that cool shit back then. And my sponsors told me that if I kept talking about that kind of stuff, that they were going to drop me. My partner told me that if I kept talking about that stuff, that he was going to quit. My wife told me that I was going crazy and that I needed to stop. I didn't listen to none of them and continued doing what I was doing. Matter of fact, not only did I continue doing it, I told my partner to beat feet, that I started it all anyways, and that I was going to do what I wanted. Um, I told my wife not to beat feet, but like that this was, my passion. This is what I was going to do. And I tried to get her involved. I did, man. But at a certain point, she just rejected it. So it is what it is. And I told the sponsor, um, that was his choice. If he wanted to take his money, then that's fine because I wasn't going to quit doing what I was wanting to do. And that matter of fact, I wasn't going to do the TV stuff no more. I was going to do that stuff full time now. So that's what happened. Um, everybody, everybody uh, quit on me. Um, I mean, like, my girl ended up getting with the guy who mastered my intro song. I come home from work one day and everything I owned was gone. Um, I lost everything as a result. Um, Home, car, everything I owned. All of my friends, um, they started telling me like, John, if you're gonna keep posting that stuff, you know, I can't hang out with you, or I can't talk to you, or you need to unfriend me. And it was like, wow, you know, like, wow, it really started changing the way I seen everybody. Of course, I did not stop, right? I just pushed harder when people did that to me. Like, I knew that that's what I was being called to do, that that's what my mission was to do this. And I had no payoff, nothing to prove that it was true, that I really was supposed to do this, right? Except, just a knowing. Matter of fact, the email that I was using in the very beginning, for some weird reason, it was little synchronicities like this that kind of led me through the path the whole way. I made this email goofing off, actually making fun of some shit because I was going to church. I'm like, I'm gonna call it John the Divine, right? And I end up, you know, having this vision, and this vision is the book of Revelation, and John the Divine is the one who wrote Revelation, right? Like, so it was like all of these different things, like, synchronizing to show me I was on the right path. In 30 days, that's how fast it happened. Somebody called my job, told them that I was on a domestic terrorist watch list, and they fired me. They fired me because of it. At this point, the targeting stuff was already starting. Um, I had met Derek Bros, the Global Witness, when he unmasked, and first came out, and he presented a challenge. I said, bring me the debater of the age, right? And my arrogant ass was like, I messaged him like, that's me. I'm him, and he thought it was funny, actually. and he agreed to come on my podcast, right? And we did like three of them, you know, together, and had like over 10,000 people listening at some point. Like it was cool as fuck. I'd never seen nothing like it. That's where most people found me. Um, like those were like the good old days type shit. I wasn't even on YouTube yet. It made me go to YouTube though. I'm like, this is my chance. I went there. I was monetized within 1 week, and then they deleted my channel the first time. So I had like these obstacles, and it's because I stumbled across Project Mayhem AI Michael, which was a script, right, to target Christian fundamentalists through anonymous and convert them into Luciferianism, a CIA operation. And when I uncovered that, that's when my life turned to real hell. That's when the handlers and the gang stalking and directed energy weapons and voice to skull and just all of it. Like that's when it all began. Was from that. It was so bad. There was points in the beginning, and I did more of like a radio show at the start because like my true passion, like one of the things I always wanted to do was be on the radio. Like I wanted to be on the radio, because I enjoy that stuff so much. So I started kind of like a radio thing. That's why I'm on every podcasting platform. It's because that's where I started. If you go look at the Spreaker channel, I've got over 100,000 downloads on that thing. That's where we began. We're on iHeart, all types of shit, man. And that was one of my first goals too. I set these goals. I'm like, yo, if I can just get on iHeartRadio, because you had to apply and you had to be doing it for so long, have so many people listening. I thought if I can get to that, then I've done a good job. And then I set more goals for longer term. Put it this way, my goal stopped at 10,000 subscribers, right? And I can remember like my girl telling me, she's mean, um, like you just need to stop right there. You're never going to get that many people. Like, and people would say stuff to me too, like, nobody cares what you think. Uh, you're not important. You're not chosen. You're not a prophet. Uh, Nobody cares what you have to say. Those kind of things. There was so much envy and jealousy and just no support from anybody around me, man. Everybody, grow up, right? Grow up. You're a grown man. You can't do, YouTube, blah, blah, blah. And I wasn't trying to at the start. I just liked it and wanted to do it, you know? But the more they told me that I couldn't, the more that they put me down, the more I wanted to. I just wanted to show everybody, like, that I could. Um, I could no longer do none of the TV stuff, right? My conscience weighed on me too much. And I knew that I was hurting people, right? By putting, a bunch of satanic shit, mind controlling shit, and promoting it. So I cut that all the way off, lost all the sponsors and everything. And there was a point in the beginning where my life was such a wreck and it was so hard. Like I broke down crying on the radio. I'm like I couldn't contain it. It was that bad, man. It was that bad. And I thought this sucks, you know. And then about a month after, um, it all kind of fell apart. I went viral for the first time on YouTube. And it was like I gained like 7, 8,000 subscribers in like a week and a half, you know, and it was like confirmation. Like I knew, like this is what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm gonna do this, for a living. I'm gonna do this for a job. And in the beginning, it was just like this, guys. Um, I was scared to show my face. because I had done the radio stuff, and that's why I liked it because I didn't have to show my face. Um, and I just wasn't confident in myself or anything. I didn't want people, picking me apart or anything. Um, but I had no choice. I wanted to make videos. So when I first started, people will remember if you're from the beginning that this is how the first videos began. And I remember thinking, nobody wants to hear me talk, right? Like it sunk in. The shit people said to me had sunken in. Like I believed it. I believed that I wasn't good enough. I believed that I wasn't smart enough. I believed that nobody liked me. I believed that nobody wanted to hear what I had to say. That I wasn't special. I wasn't this. I wasn't that. I believed every last one of those things, you know? And, I thought, what am I doing, even doing, trying to do this? Who's going to want to see me? Who's going to want to hear me? How am I going to compare to all those other guys? They're like awesome, you know? But I just got on and I just started talking just like this. And I started seeing people like coming into the chat and staying, right? And staying. And and that was the first time I went live too. It was like this. I had put out videos, most of them were just audio or me talking over top of like images and stuff, but never showing myself or, anything like that. And when I did it, man, I started seeing the comments and people saying like, you're a good speaker, or you're smart, or shit like that. And it was like, what? Like, you guys mean you actually like this? So I just kept doing it, I kept doing it. And, before you know it, I'm like, okay, now I need to show these people, you know, what I'm talking about. So then I started doing the screen sharing and, just, and it developed more and more into what it became, eventually, what it became eventually. And throughout the whole time, guys, um, I think one of the, you learn lessons. Anything that you do in your life, you learn lessons about yourself the most. You know, the first 3 years after me and, the mother of my kids split up, I didn't even let a person hug me. Like, that's how broken uh, I was, like, and where I had come from, like in my life. I didn't know my identity. I didn't know who I was. Um, I was so depressed. Uh, and I remember people making comments too, like, why are you so sad? Why are you always so sad? Your eyes are sad, and it's like, eventually you just, you don't want to, you want to do something about it. You want to do something about it. And, I can remember Derek Bros once again, and people wonder why I like have so much love for him. It's because people don't know, um, how he mentored me and shit in a lot of ways, and how he helped me get my start, and how he would like help me with my problems along the way. Matter of fact, you know, it's probably all about to go away because I don't have the equipment to do it, and he donated to the fundraiser. You know what I mean? Like, he's been very good to me, guys. Like, a great person to me, and I love him for that. Um, but I remember him talking to me, and I was like saying, I believe this, but I'm afraid if I say it to people that they won't like it. And he said, fuck them, fuck them. He was like, be you. And if they don't like it, who cares? You know, who cares? Quit trying to reply to every fucking comment in the comment section to be nice. Quit trying to please all these different people to be nice. Quit sitting on the phone for hours and hours and hours and not having time for yourself just to be nice when these people are, they're not being respectful of your time. you know, like you just told me, like, and be you, be comfortable with who you are, you know. And I thought, well, fuck it. I'm either gonna fail miserably doing that or I'm going to succeed. And it wasn't until, I actually um, just embraced being myself and didn't try to be like anyone else, didn't try to compare myself to anyone, um, that I had success. And I started to attract a different crowd. My first crowd was very fucked up, guys. They were mostly Christian. No knock against Christians, but they were so judgmental that anything that I did, they were judging me for it and saying, "Oh, we don't want to," because I'm into all these different books, right? You guys know, like I'll read the Satanic Bible. I don't give a shit, right? If it's a book. So I'm trying to share these books, Nag Hammadi, and all these crazy things like they're not cool with, and they would shame me for it, make me feel terrible, like I was going to hell for these things. Um, so I just said, fuck it, I don't care. And it started to bring in people like myself too, you know, people like myself. And of course, people would shame me for the music I would play. How can you be spiritual and play secular music? Because there's no rule that says I can't. You know what I mean? I can do what the fuck I want to do. It's my channel, you know? Or why would people listen to a guy with green hair and covered in tattoos and face tats and all that? You know what I mean? Like, because it doesn't matter what I look like. It's either true or it's not. It's either valuable or it isn't, right? And that's where people get caught up. They want to judge the person that's actually delivering the information because if they can do that, then they can dismiss everything that the person has said. And Derek also taught me another trick about that. And he was right about it too. He said they're going to dig up your past, John. They're going to dig up your past and they're going to try to use it against you. He said use it against yourself first. So that's what I did. I told everybody about how I'd been to prison and I spent most of my 20s in jail and just everything. Told it all. Told them how I was beat as a kid. I mean, anything. I just said it all, dude, just so they would, there was nothing they could use against me, you know, and they still tried eventually. They still tried. Um, I got a year or two ago, a couple years ago, I ended up getting a co host who was transgender, which is crazy considering one of the first big times I ever got attention was over a video I made about transgenders, and it was not good, by the way. Go check my iTunes rating on my podcast, and what you'll find is about 1,500 one-star ratings from people saying the host is transphobic and all of this, okay, because of that video. They hacked my computers and everything for that. That was the first time, you know, it was shitty. But anyways, I needed tech help, right? So and because I was just struggling to get put everything together. I wanted to grow and be bigger and just all of that, and be on more platforms, not just YouTube. And I brought Bailey on, and I remember Bailey's dad was high up in the military, like you know, very high, um, and at the head of a very large and prominent corporation as well, right? So these are powerful people, okay. And Bailey was I don't want to say for sure or not, but let's just put it this way, from San Francisco, where the capital of the OTO is, Ordo Templi Orientis, and like I don't know if it's the 32nd or the 33rd degree. Um, one of the rituals is offering your manhood to Satan, right? Cutting it off, right? And I don't know, what Bailey was cool. So I don't know what Bailey has done, but I'm just saying there was a lot, and it was a shock to my viewers that I even did it. But the point is that Bailey was qualified, and I didn't know that she was transgender. So, um, when she told me, what was I supposed to do? Fire her? Say you can't work now because I found out you're transgender? Like, no, that would be a piece of shit move, So I had to suck it up, man. And all those judgmental, hypocritical, religious people, they thought I was just making it showed their heart to me, showed their heart to me, you know. They didn't have love in their heart, or they couldn't judge a person like that, you know. You couldn't do that and know God or, any of those things. So next thing you know, Bailey lets me know because I was going to be told that they had ran a background check on me. He said my father did. And this is after I'd already did a call-in show. And his stepmom called in. He didn't tell me that it was her, but she tried to trip me up. She was trying to make me look like a fraud on during the live show. She couldn't do it, you know. But she tried really hard, was trying to trip me up and, like, how can you prove this? How do you know that? Da, 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 da. And I'm like, this lady's a bitch. And I didn't find out till after, Bailey's like, that's my stepmom. I'm like, well, why would you let her do that, dude? You know? And this was just one of the many times that they sent people to infiltrate me and try to destroy me along the way. Um, so now I know that they ran background checks on me too. So I knew at some point that they were going to use this. Well, lo and behold, a pretty good opportunity came along to go on a radio show with Michael Strange, Troubled Minds Radio, right? And when I go on there, he's got a huge audience on Facebook and stuff. I don't know if you guys know who he is or whatever. Um, I'm streaming from all my channels. Like, I'm happy. I'm like, yeah, cool. We're about to reach some new people. And they don't know who I am, and they probably never heard the things I said. I'm going to blow their fucking minds. And I did. I done really good, right? I rocked it for real. And talked about, Luciferase, bioluminescence, and the quantum dots, and how it travels up the nervous system, up the spinal cord, to the brain. I broke it all down, and this is fucking 2 years ago or something. I talked about the nano cubes and how they have lithography and cryptography within them. I mean, all of it, guys, all of it. Um, and next thing you know, my YouTube channels all get remotely turned off, right? All of them. All my channels, I'm remotely cut off. I'm like, what's going on here? I just got kicked off. And YouTube deleted the video, took it down immediately. Well, it didn't happen on his side of things. So we keep going. And then the next thing you know, he says, I apologize, John. And I'm like, what's wrong? He said, I've never seen nothing like this before. I mean, what do you mean? He said, people are pretty upset. About what? Someone released your criminal record into the chat. So Bailey's friend, who invites me on the radio after Bailey runs a background check on me, right, gets released when this is like the moment I have, right, on this huge platform in front of all these people to show the world who I am and what I can do, and and just why they need to come here and be a part of this, right? And that's how they did me. Um, so obviously the people in the chat, uh, they went through it with a fine tooth comb, and there's like, you guys gonna listen to this junkie, you're gonna listen to this junkie, and people had an excuse then because they demonized me to dismiss everything I said, even though it's all true. And if you go to the band playlist, that particular show is on that playlist. You know, that one is one of my favorites of all time, by the way. Um, well, and that was, and I fired Bailey after that. I fired Bailey after that. I noticed that my chats had become volatile, that people were arguing. I had started the Discord stuff, trying to generate um, interest in community, right? Like I wanted people to meet each other and all of that because people didn't. Um, and I would do chats and shit like that. And I mean, they were fun, at first. And then people began really being volatile on those, right? They were talking over top of each other. There was people that would not let me talk. You know what I mean? It's like, motherfucker, this is my shit. What do you mean? Like they wouldn't let me speak. And I'm like, how did this happen? How did this happen? And, it made sense. Like I got infiltrated. They tried to just hijack my whole shit. When my dad died, Bailey let callers, and I know that they were connected. He let callers come through and call and make fun of my dad dying while I'm on air. You know, like who does that? Who does that? Just to see what if you can shake me, if you can rattle me, if you can make me cry. You know, who does that? You know, and just after that kind of stuff, right? And then the whole radio show and the criminal record, and he ran a background check on me. So where'd the fucking record come from? You know, and it was his friend's show that he introduced me to after he had already let people through as callers. His stepmom trying to trip me up and make me look stupid, which she couldn't do. And then multiple calls where people made fun of my dad dying, right? So I wasn't a bad guy for letting Bailey go, but he tried to play the transgender card and act like that's why I did it. No, anybody with a fucking half a brain would have fired him too if they done that shit to you, right? So Bailey was a computer genius, really. Um, Worked on the Brain Initiative, where they actually they map the mind with D-Wave computers, and it's supposed to be for like robotic limbs and shit, but it wasn't. It was for what we're seeing now, right? And he went to a CIA school, all of that, man. So it was really obvious, why he was sent and all of that, And keep in mind, this is around the time when I really started to get bigger on other platforms and shit too, right? So um, it was not the biggest I've been, but I was climbing up that hill at that time. I was really ascending up in popularity on a lot of places. Um, so yeah, that's probably why they did all of that. And then he tried to take down my Discord and just all of this stuff after the fact, you know, after the fact. So I decided to just, cut all that off and, keep it going. Um, and I started receiving cursed objects and shit. People that were, and it was all from that time too, you know. Uh, like I thought that it was cool to like expose myself to people because I was so traumatized from the beginning where they targeted me. Like I wouldn't answer a phone call, I wouldn't reply to a text or nothing. So I wanted to make up for it, you know, with the people who supported me and watched me. I wanted to make myself available to them, you know, and that's why I did the chats and shit. Like I wanted to, you know, in the beginning, yeah, everybody just sat around and listened to me talk, which I thought was weird. Um, but I didn't mind, you know, and they all asked questions and shit. Um, I thought it was cool. I was getting a chance to get to know them, you know, and I missed out on that for years before because of all the shit that had happened, you know. And it ended up backfiring though, big time. Um, I let somebody make a necklace for me, and I'm not gonna say their name, but they made a video about me talking about I'm a piece of shit and all of this when they're just really a dirty witch. Um, truth be told, um, they asked me my birthday and said they were gonna make a master necklace for me. So some of you may know what I'm talking about. And when they did, I opened up the package and immediately, immediately, I heard like footsteps stomping, boom, boom, boom. There was like something so strong attached to this goddamn thing that it was rattling my house when it walked. And it smelled like pure sulfur. And I mean, as soon as I opened up the box, type shit. Yeah. And turns out it wasn't just a necklace, it was a pendulum too, right? They had disguised a pendulum as a necklace, right? And they had tried to get me to do this ritual, right? I was they knew a lot of stuff, so I was asking them, you know, about different things, healing, prosperity, all of this, and they're telling me these plants, okay? Plants I thought were pretty harmless. Keep it real, you know. Put this plant in your house and you get money. Put this plant in your house and you have good health, right? Those kind of things. Well, next thing you know, she comes back and tells me that um on Thursday I'm going to talk to Mars for you. What do you mean you're going to talk to Mars for me? You know? And she said, because we need to take care of you. They don't appreciate you on YouTube, John. They undervalue you, right? They don't respect you. They take you for granted. So we need to make sure you're taken care of, son. And that's what she called herself, was my spiritual mom. And she said, but don't worry, don't worry. He's not going to take anything for this one. And I said, whoa, whoa, wait a minute. What do you mean not take anything? And she said, when we're dealing with the gods, she says, Mars takes the person you love the most in exchange for his gift. And I'm like, bitch, no, right? Like, I don't want that gift. You know, who are you gonna, you know, if you know me, then it's very obvious the people I love the most, right? They're my babies, you know, so I was not letting that happen. I said, I absolutely want no part of this. I want nothing to fucking do with this. Nothing, right? Like, I'm out, yo. Oh, you're protected by the archangel. You know, we don't need to offer blood. And I'm like, bitch, are you crazy? You know what I mean? Like, what are you doing? You know, I don't want no part of this. So I didn't, you know, I didn't. I ended up burying the fucking necklace and putting a circle of salt around it, all this shit, because one of my viewers told me that that's what she was doing. I forget his name. He used to be like a Mormon or something. And see, the benefit of actually doing those kind of chats, I got to know you guys, right? And I've been like that ever since, right? Try to know all the people who watch. But the guy told me, he said, John, she's going to say certain things to you, um, to let you know, like that this is um, that it's bad. It's like she's going to tell you it's incredibly valuable, that it costs thousands of dollars. He said she's doing that so you won't throw it away, right? She's going to tell you don't let nobody else touch it either, right? Never let it hit the ground. Never let another person touch it. Sleep with it under your pillow if you're not wearing it. He said because she wants your energy on it. She wants you connected to it. I'm like, what? She's not bad. She's not bad. Sure enough, everything he said was the truth. Everything he said was the truth. Every last bit of it. Um, I mean, that wasn't one of the only ones, too. There was another girl that was within those things. And every time she would send me a text message, an email. Oh, well, let me tell you this. So I was dating a girl from Tennessee, Nashville, right? And she was so psychic, very beautiful, too. If you're watching, I love you, girl. Um, she was extremely psychic. She would have dreams, right? These dreams, and I mean, she would just fucking know shit, like for real. And great soul too, by the way. Just beautiful person overall. And we were like pretty tight, man. We were tight. Uh, she ended up having like the same dream that I had of the planets. And then after we stopped hanging out and talking and stuff, like out of nowhere, um, she messages me one day and she says, John, I had a dream last night. It was of you. I'm like, and I take her shit serious because I know that's a gift she has and it's a powerful one. And it's all the time she dreams like that. And if she tells you something, dude, and you don't listen to her dream, you're a fucking idiot. That kind of shit, right? So she says, in this dream, John, she said, you had black hair, and she said, in your eyes were glowing, like yellow, like glowing, fire almost. She said, you looked really hot. And she said, I was glad to see you, you know? And she said, when I went to hug you, she said, your body was like hard, like you were super strong, like super, super strong. She said, but you were angry in the dream. I said, oh, that don't sound like me, man. Why would I be angry at you? You know? She said, and it scared me, so I went to leave, and you grabbed me by the arm. And I said, like I'm thinking, dude, what's up with this? You defaming me in your fucking dream, And she said, and when you did, she said, your hand burned me, and it left a mark on me. And she said, and there was a woman in the room with us. She said, and I wondered why this woman wasn't saying any fucking thing to you, and you're snatching me up by the arm, right? And I asked the woman in the dream, I said, who are you even? And she said, I'm his mother, right? And it was not my mom. It was a black lady. I obviously am a pale guy, so unless something happened I don't know about, my mom's white, like me, right? And soon as she told that to me, this was right after this lady presents me with this fucking ritual thing, right? And she calls out of nowhere, ain't spoke to her in a month or two, you know what I mean? To warn me about this, man. And I knew, Mars, Aries, and the fire and all of that. It was like so obvious. Like I got this major warning. And she even seen her and she called herself my spiritual mom. And in the dream, she said, I'm his mother. So when it comes to stuff like this, and this is, I could tell you a million of these things, um, a million of these things that happen. to me over and over and over and over and over again. And it's taught me that when they do, you follow them. You follow them. Our subconscious is fucking amazing. Our spirit, it powers our subconscious. It powers our conscious and unconscious. But our spirit, it finds ways to manifest and show you things you need to see at the time you need to see it. Now, we don't always understand, what we're being shown until it happens a lot of times. Like I can tell you one time, um, and this is after when I was going through the targeted individual stuff, um, about 2 years of that, and it was really hard, um, really hard. By the end, I basically wanted to kill myself, you know, because I couldn't figure out how to make it stop. I thought it was technology and there was no way to stop technology. You know what I mean? Like, I was done, man. I was done. I was so unhappy and I suffered so fucking much. Um, Anytime something good would happen, they would counter it with 10 bad things, to make me regret even having anything good happen, type shit. Um, I was afraid to go around people because I was afraid I'd get them hurt too. Um, they would send people to me like they were paying people in my Discord to gather fucking data on me. A data collection agency was paying people in my fucking Discord to talk to me and get personal information about me. Is that not fucking crazy? Who has that happen? You know, so I end up getting hit really bad with the DEWs. You know, in particular, one of the handlers, the people tell me they showed me a video, and in the video it talked about, and they would do all these weird things. They would tell you you were a super soldier. They would tell you you were an angel. They would tell you that you were going to ascend. They would fuck with you any way they could and tell you all these fantastical scenarios of where it was okay for you to be tortured, right? That way you would open yourself up to the torture and that way you would allow it to happen to you, right? You would submit. So in this particular scenario, they told me in the video that somebody was going to come to my house and they was going to do this specific knock and they were going to say this specific phrase, and that they had this um, energy gun and it was part of my training to become a super soldier. Shit you not, okay? And they were telling me all the different settings on the gun: death by 1,000 cuts, um, Anunnaki love bites. I mean, they had these fucking fucked up names, you know. And I thought like it was just weird and it wasn't real. So I do a video, man, like 10:30 or something. I'm done. And all of a sudden I heard aluminum foil sound rattling at the side of the door. I'm like, what in the fuck was that? I'd never heard this sound before. And lo and behold, this white beam of light comes through the door, hits me right on the fucking head, and when it did, it burned so damn bad. I'm like tucked and rolled and shit to try to get away from it. It hurt so bad. I'm like, what in the fuck? And then next thing you know, I heard the sound, and then they knocked at the door with the knock, and there was people on both sides of my house, and one of them said, "Good night," ha ha ha, and like laughing. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? I was terrified, terrified, um, terrified. So I tried to lay down. I had my boys. I was trying to lay down. I laid down between my two youngest ones. They took the gun and rolled their bodies away from me, both of them, like my kids. One rolled to the right, one rolled to the left. And I'm like sitting there like, what the fuck? And they hit me with it again, right? They hit me with it again. So I get up, I try to go hide in the fucking laundry room. They're hitting me in there. I'm like, I can't hide from this thing. And when they did that with my kids, um, it just made me drop my guard. I was like, I didn't want them to touch them, you know? So I was like, and I knew they could hear me. Um, I don't know how they do it, guys. I don't. It's crazy, but you know they can. It's almost like they can read your thoughts and shit. It's so weird, you know. And I know this sounds crazy as fuck, but it's real. So I told them, you know, out loud, I was like, just leave them alone. You know, you can have me. I'll do it. You know. So I go to the other side of the house away from them because I didn't want them to, you know, get hurt. And they proceeded to tear my ass up from about 11 o'clock at night until the sun came up the next morning with that gun. They were picking the rabbit up in the rabbit cage and moving it across the room. Like when I turned my back to pick something up or something like that, that's how it first started. They picked up the rabbit cage and moved it right into the middle of the floor. I'm like, ah, you know? And then when I turned my back again, they put it back in the place it was at. Like crazy shit. Like the cable boxes and the cop and the not the cops, the clocks in the room I was in were just spinning like and then they were stopping on 666, 666 on all of them because they were fucking with me, right? And when they finally started to do this to me, they could burn me with it. They can make it feel like pins and needles. They can make it feel like you were being stabbed. They can make it feel like somebody was taking your organs and just twisting them. Um, and they were making my eyes blink. They were making my mouth move. They were moving my arms and my hands and my legs. It was like they were mapping my entire body and nervous system with this fucking thing, right? And at one point, they just cranked the damn thing up, and I'm crying, y'all. Like I'm not even gonna lie, you know. Like it was so painful and it was so traumatic. Um, because I didn't know where these people were. They had to be parked around my house somewhere to do it. Um, just tears rolling down my face, and they were making me smile as I cried and shit. Like they were sick, you know, sick. Um, hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. You know, and I'm just like begging them, like, please stop now. I've had enough. I won't do it again, whatever I did, you know. And they ended up frying my head with the gun. Like it had like an electrical feeling. Like but it was on my brain. Like on my brain only. And it fried me so hard. Um like when they stopped or for like 5 minutes straight, I thought I was about to die actually when they did it. I fell out on the ground. Um, and my ears rung so loud. You know, I remember feeling like my eyeballs were about to pop out of my head, and I was drooling and shit. You know, because like whatever they was doing, it was messing with my motor functions. And when they stopped, like I was like just gone, dizzy, gone, just gone. And the next thing you know, they took the gun and they went at the top of my ass. It's called the sacral sanctum, sacred sanctum or whatever. and they did the Anunnaki love bite thing. It like punched inside of the base of my spine, and it pinched really hard. And when it pulled out, it felt like they took a piece of my soul. Like seriously. And I later found out, through witchcraft and stuff like that, there's what's called a soul splice. And that's what they did to me. That's what they did to me. They mapped my head, I think, when they fried it so hard. And then they spliced my soul. And they were mapping my nervous system and my body. And I believe it's um, to either make a copy of me or to effectively like kill me or hurt me or, do that better. I don't know. Probably both. And when they did, my legs just went out, man. I collapsed. I thought I was paralyzed for a second when they did it, like, cause it dropped me so fast. And when they finally stopped and the sun came up, um, I couldn't remember anything, like anything. I forgot all about Planet X. I forgot all about the Bible. I forgot everything I knew. I forgot it all. Forgot it all. I had to relearn all of it again. After, doing this shit for years, I get fucked up so hard by whatever they did to me, I couldn't remember anything, you know? Like, I was drooling and pissing my pants by the time they were done with it. You know what I mean? Like, that's how bad they got me. And I just forgot every bit of everything that I knew. All of it. And I had to relearn. And when I told people about this, they didn't believe me. Nobody believed me. Not my family, not my friends, people watching, not them either. So I'm basically ready to blow my head off at this point. My life is hell, it's miserable, and it's only getting worse. It's only getting worse. It's cranking it up a notch each time. So I wanted to know, like, I didn't want to cheat God. I done made this promise to him, but I mean, I gave him everything. I lost everything, and I felt like I was probably going to be killed soon also. So I thought, well, I kept my end of the bargain, God. When is this over now? I'm done, you know. And I did this deep meditation. And in the meditation, um, I asked the question, when am I finished um, doing this? And I meant like what I'm doing right now. Okay. I meant, when am I finished? Warning people, telling people. And I got this really weird answer, guys. Um, it said, when you see the serpent, it's almost over. When you see the serpent, it's almost over. This voice came back in meditation, excuse me, and didn't know what that meant at all. At all. I'm like, what the fuck? Um, and I even had another dream of a planet. And it looked artificial in the next one. It was like poking through the sky, and there was like sirens going off, and the government was telling everybody that everything was okay. And just go into your homes. And I'm in like Washington, D.C. And I'm at this podium, and I'm trying to tell everybody that it's we're fucked. That they're all about to die. That they don't just go in your home, get underground somewhere, and like all this stuff. And there's like this girl next to me, a blonde girl next to me, saying, "Listen to him. He's telling the truth." Right? Like, so I have like these weird things going on, right? Like, and then at the end, I will snap out of it, and I hear that phrase, when you see the serpent, it's almost over. And sure enough, 1,260 days later, from the great sign in heaven, asteroid Apophis, an enormous red dragon, which translates into a fabulous kind of serpent. 99942. When you see the serpent, it's almost over. And around that time, um, 2020 is where, I just kind of blew up. You know, I went viral on Facebook. I mean, just everywhere. That's where, people, started knowing, about me and all of that. And then you guys know, um, nobody else even knew about Asteroid Apophis. It was just me. I was the only person telling everybody about that one, and it was like, so it felt like, like, damn, dude. So this is like the final act for me, really, I guess, like this is it. This is what I was supposed to do. Um, and the Great Conjunction, the end of the age, you know, and how Jupiter usurps Saturn. And this is all about the crossing and the transition, right? And I've watched it happen. Um, I've watched it happen. We have transition, you know, and Jupiter, which represents the shining one or justice, has usurped Saturn, the god of this world, which represents control, right? Restriction, fear, all of that, right? And it was what happened in our hearts too. Like after that point, I hit a new level, and I think all of you did too. You guys can attest to that, you know. Throughout this entire time of this pandemic, from C-19 Atlas, um, to C-19 the virus, and laying out, the horsemen of the apocalypse. How the UN and the World Health Organization, the rider on the whiteboard, right? Where the Stephanos, which means to wreath or twine, um, and that's their sigil, right? Where they have the world and the 33 sections and the target, conquering and to conquer, and the entire world governments all subdue at the same time, simultaneously. And it lets you know that the new world order is already here, right? It's already here. Then we watch the red horse come out, and the Abraham Accord peace treaty, right? Promising peace and security before sudden destruction, right? And that sigil, right? And it has on that sigil, it's got the entire ritual there. And what's it say? It says it comes to take peace from the earth, so men and women will butcher one another, which means to sacrifice one another. And they've got the sacrifice ritual right on the back of the coin, right? It's got the heart and the DNA, right, for the jab, and it's got needles on it too. Binary code, 5G, SpaceX, the whole fucking nine, including the Great Conjunction, is on there. And it says if one inclines towards peace, it inclines towards you. And sure enough, George Floyd happens. I can't breathe, right? And I got to see, I was in Louisville and all different types of places because I was, hanging out with the girl from Tennessee. So I got to go through those places, and I seen the National Guard. And when I came back home to Cincinnati, there was just state troopers and shit lined all the way up in curfews and shit, and it was taking peace from the earth, right? And then now, the Libra scales, right, to yoke you into servitude through law or obligation, right? And all these mandates, you know, these mandates that are now taking your jobs, restricting your travel. They're locking people back down, right? They're making these requirements, right? This is school. This is, the federal government. This is all of this, right? Through law or obligation. That's the mandates. That's the laws being passed. That's why people are dishonorably discharged in the military. That's why all the nurses are quitting, but they're really being fired, right? That's why all the people who fly planes, same thing, man. That's it, right? And then we know that it stems into hyperinflation, right? Hyperinflation, where a meal will cost the same as a day's wage, right? And we know already that there is like the supply shit that they're creating. So that's right. That's right around the corner. And I think it's going to be meshing into the next horse and right the green horse, right? Which means in the Greek to comply, right? To be compliant. And then the green agenda, right? The green passport, right? All of it, right? Build back better 666. You're complying with the beast system, right? Blah, 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 right? It's like all there. And then we have death in Hades, right? The black horse, and they kill a fourth of the world's population. It's famine, pestilence, right? All of that. And I believe that that's when war is going to come too. We've shown iPad Goat, right? And I showed you the DARPA beetle and shit, crawling across the guy's forehead, and how DARPA, the DoD, and their experiment where they put hydrogel in the beetle and then put an RFID chip on its back, and they controlled it through radio frequency, right? Every country, their agendas, it's through their departments of defense, right? DARPA is control of all of those companies, Pfizer, BioNTech, Moderna, all of it, man, all of it. The Apijet delivery system, which is a dual delivery system. And yes, it has an RFID on there, right? Magnet gate and all the magnets sticking to people, or the Luciferos, right? We went through all of that A1, AI, right? AI, A1, right? And how it lights up the veins in your right hand when you take it, right? Under a black light. Veins are lit up. That's how they're going to know. They're gonna, check you and all of that. And Pompeo said that it was a live exercise, did he not? And what did they have? Right? The Seventh Circuit District Judge in Florida um, made it mandatory, so you knew it was going to be mandatory, right? They were shutting down certain state lines like Georgia and Alabama, Georgia and Florida. Um, you knew that was going to happen, right? The military was set up at main highways and shit like that. They created the 20 quarantine zones, right? All of these different things, guys, like to let you know, right? The direction it was going to go and what was going to happen. And it was triggered by Comet Atlas C-19, 2 days before this happened. They were practicing with Event 201, the SPARS exercise as well, right? And we all know that the people involved in these exercises were the ones who were in charge. John Hopkins kept track of the numbers. Bill Gates in charge of the jab, right? Every last bit of it. Every last bit of it. And now we have what? Comet Leonard, A1, right? Asteroid Apophis on 1,260 days, precisely a time and half a time after September 23rd, 2017. Right? Is it just, you can't make it up. The 144,000, they warn the people up until the moment it happens. That's what they do. And then they're killed. Then they're killed. I can tell you this, like all the dreaming and shit like that, um, that wasn't a dream to me. That was a memory. We've already lived this. We've already been through this, which means we've already won. We've already won. You know, we've already won. And every time something happens to me, it's a lesson. My channel got hijacked, right, by Russians or some shit, who knows, right? And I had to start a backup channel, and it taught me the lesson not to allow myself to identify with being a YouTuber, right? And I create content. Content don't create me, right? My work is a byproduct of me. I'm not a byproduct of my work, right? It taught me that. Everything that's ever happened to me along this path has taught me things. It's taught me that I can't keep giving my power over to people because they'll abuse it. They'll take it for granted. I'm one of the most open-hearted people you've ever met. I promise you. Right? And when I love a person, I'll do anything for them. And I've just had the misfortune of being around a lot of low vibration people, truth be told, you know, and they see it as an opportunity, to take it, take me for, take advantage of me. I love my audience, my community, and I have a few great people out there. But you know, like is this is not as fulfilling as it once was now. I feel a lot of people. Um, I put up a video today on TikTok. It's already got 30,000 fucking views, man. You know what I mean? Like, and here we are on YouTube and multiple channels with thousands of people and have a handful of people in the chat, right? A handful of people. The people are rude and disrespectful now. They they're talking about fucking nonsense in the chats and distracting everybody from everything. Like I'm trying to share with them, right? Like it's you know, like it's not rude, you know, or like what I'm saying is not important and what they're fucking talking about is more important, you know. I work really hard to do this stuff, really hard, so hard, so dedicated, you know. And I do extra stuff you guys never ever see. I answer phone calls all the time, and people keep me on there for hours sometimes. Right? Even if I'm saying, okay, I gotta go, and I don't mind because I know people just want to be heard, right? I know people just want to be heard, and I want to help people. I do, but I feel like there's a strong probability that what has recently happened, which has kept me from being able to create content, is God doing once again for me what I wouldn't do for myself. And only time will tell. You know, I put out a call, what, 2 days ago, 3 days ago, that I need a new computer, right? People to support. People do not support. People do not support on here anymore. They don't. They don't care. Matter of fact, if I do private content and I make it free, everybody comes pouring in. If I say, hey man, just give a little and you can watch it, nobody does. Nobody does. So that lets you know, right, that they are taking advantage of me. They're taking me for granted on this particular platform now, which makes it less fulfilling for me. in a big way. When you care a lot for people and you're trying to help people and you love people and you just want to, you know stuff that they don't. You know you do. And you know they're not going to know it unless you tell them. That's why I started doing it all. I felt so bad for everybody. So bad. I remember riding home from work, man, and it all hitting me that everything they had shared with us, like in on the news and shit, were lies. And it was to cover up the truth that we were all fucked, you know? And it broke my heart, man. It broke my heart. Not because I was lied to, but because every person I knew was going to die and they had no clue. Every person I knew was worshiping a false, evil God. They had no clue. So I wanted to tell people so they'd have a fighting chance. And I'll admit, when I did get really popular, that was hard for me. It was hard to handle, that type of recognition that it was, you know, it was. It would be hard for you too. So don't judge. It's not easy, dude. I promise you. When you go from being a fucking nobody that nobody cares about to all of a sudden everybody's telling you how right you are, how handsome you are, and all of these things, right? Like you know, it's something you never get used to. I have never gotten used to any of those things, you know, and it wasn't great for me at that time, like I partied a lot, but I traveled a lot too. Went and met a lot of you guys and stuff like that, and had fun. But it can go to your head real easy. So I've had to be humbled along the way. I have, but because I've been humbled, it's given me like a clear way of seeing things. It's allowing me to see things for what they truly are. Even when I don't want to admit it. Um, I think what's kept me in this for so long is my emotional attachment to the people, right? For the last couple of months, guys, like we haven't met the goal. It's coming out of my pocket. Like I'm just not able to keep it up anymore because nobody's helping anymore. Nobody cares anymore. You know, you guys tune out if I don't hit you with a bunch of flashy graphics and all of that shit. You tune out if I ask you for help for something. You know, you tune out if I'm not fucking wowing you with some crazy fucking intelligent shit you've never heard before. And even when I am, you tune out and you fucking distract everybody in my chat with what? Gossip, garbage, nonsense. And it sucks because there's some of you guys that are so fucking loyal, so kind, so good, so honest. They have nothing, nothing. And they send a couple of dollars and that's everything they fucking have, dude. So it breaks my heart that those people get fucked by most of you shitbags. There's pretenders everywhere. pretenders everywhere. And people need to understand that there's not as many of us as you think. This isn't a fad. This isn't a phase. This isn't for entertainment value. This is real shit. This is to take, if you listen and you do it right, it'll change your motherfucking life. And if you listen and you learn, you are going to learn things that nobody knows at a level that nobody can go to. And for those of you that recognize that, appreciate that, respect that, and you reflect that back, my hat's off to you. Straight up, man. Straight up. You guys are cool in my book. Straight up. And I know each and every one of you that are like that too. And when I've had problems, when I've been down, when I stopped even making content for a couple of months, you guys were still checking on me. And you care about me as a person and not none of this shit. You don't need me to teach you anything because you guys go do the hard work yourself, right? Just like I do. You go do it yourself. You only do this for the same reason I do, because you love the people, you love the community, you want to make a difference, you want to help, right? And you guys are going to do some great, great things. You're going to be amazing. You're going to lead people in ways you could never imagine. And I just know it. People want to down me for doing tarot cards. Oh, that's why your computer broke. Are you fucking stupid? Because I read tarot cards is why my computer broke. It's all my fault, right? I could flip that on you and say, well, I would have a new computer if you wasn't a tight ass, right? But I don't. It's rude. It's disrespectful. I don't know why people think it's okay to be disrespectful to me when I don't do it to them. Because I'm on the screen. And that's another thing. Guys, it's become so envious and jealousy and shit like that when I do this now. It's puts a fucking sour taste in my mouth. If I watched you succeed, if I watched good things happen to you, I would be filled with joy. And I would root you on and I would be so happy for you. Straight up. When people tune in here, when I'm imploding, when my life is bad, they love that. Love it. Makes them feel good about themselves. Someone's doing worse than they are. These are the same people who say it's all my fault, because of tarot. These are the same people who devalue the fact I work 12, 16 hours a day, 7 fucking days a week, and put out hours and hours and hours of content for free and do 10 billion different things on top of it, and then act like I'm a scumbag for saying please support, because they're entitled motherfuckers that think that they're owed something. They don't want to do the work themselves. They want me to do it for them, and they want me to do it for free. And then they want to come into the chat and fucking talk a bunch of nonsense that nobody gives a fuck about. to try to distract you from getting something out of it too. And then if I say something about it, they're going to put a shit comment underneath, badmouth me and anybody else that fucking disagrees with them. And that's a problem, guys. That's a problem to me. That's not what I want to be around at all. That's not what I want to surround myself with. That's not who I want to engage with. Nope. So when is it okay to say it's over? You know, when is it okay to say, all right, man, I've done my duty, tried really hard. I'm still trying with no reward, only headache, suffering, and lack. Because I feel like I'm dragging a million people behind me. I have no privacy. I can't tell people nothing. They use it against me. And go into my discords, and my own community is talking shit about me. Spiritual people, woke people. So, how much of that do you say, okay, when's enough enough? When have I done what I'm supposed to do? And when I can just say, all right, man, trying to move on to a new project now. I feel guilty and I don't want people to feel like I'm abandoning them. But guys, I've had fucking people kill themselves over things I've said. This shit weighs on me. It weighs on me a lot. And you can say it's not your fault that, who their family blames. I can't post pictures of my kids on my Facebook or anything because people are that bad now. And I don't, maybe it's my fault and I've attracted this to myself or something, but it's like even women are shitty to me. It's like, oh, I want to see if I can get the guy from the Best Damn Podcast to like me, and then I'm gonna be really shitty to him. That way I can build up my ego. It's like, is this the whole world? Just this corner. I'm sick of the fake I love yous and all of that, man. Like I want, you know, if you're about that, then be about that, man. If not, that's okay. You don't have to say that shit. You don't have to act like you like me if you don't. And I've had people pretend like they fucking love me until they get me around, and then they've tried to get me in bad trouble or tried to harm me. Watch for years. I mean, I would have never thought these people would hurt me, but they were only watching because they hated me. How about that? Who does that? Who does that? So, I mean, I'm gonna leave, that question to you. When is enough enough? When is it time to walk away? I hope and pray that a new opportunity presents itself and it's beautiful and it's something for growth and expansion, and I feel appreciated and all of those things in doing it. I do, really do. Pray for it. Or, I hope that people, you know, take me seriously. And I'm not being arrogant. I know there's not another one of us on YouTube or anywhere else. You're not gonna find this nowhere else. So why are people dogging me and treat me like shit? Why are people not giving or doing anything, even sharing a goddamn link? You know, that's sad. And it's not like that on every platform. Like I said, I posted a TikTok video today. Fucking within hours, I had 30,000 views. You know, so it's the platform itself. It's degenerated. It's regressed. Facebook too. You know, Facebook too. Multiple, all of them. This doing this here is not. You know, like I think it's like in this is my livelihood. This is how I take care of myself. Like I need Christmas for my children and all of that, and I don't even have a fucking computer. I got business loans. I had over $35,000 in loans last year. I put so much money into this shit, so much money into this shit, guys. It's not funny. And I can't raise enough to buy a fucking computer. I can't raise enough to pay the bills to even do it anymore. That shows you right there. That shows you right there. Nobody actually appreciates me, the content, the community, any of it. And the few who do, there's just too few. I regret like spoiling everybody with doing so much and all of that. But that's how I am. That's why people fucking run over me in relationships and shit. I can't stop it doing it. It's like I give all my power away, expecting people to be good when I do, expecting people to reciprocate, and they don't. They don't. I appreciate all of you guys. Pretty much most of you guys that are chilling in the chat tonight are great folks, by the way. Um, and the ones who aren't, and the ones who are mad, I don't even care at all. Like not even a little bit. Be mad. You know what I mean? It's just a YouTube video, right? It's not it's not that serious, is it? It's not like we're talking about life and death. It's not like we're exposing things that could save your life, you know? It's not like all the good ones are already gone. It's not like everybody else is already sold out. So you're good, right? And my good people, they already know. They know what's up. They already know that it's about themselves. It's about in here. It doesn't matter who the fuck saying what, doing what. That right there, dude. That's where the truth is. It's written on your heart. It's written on your heart. And anybody leading you a fucking way from that, run. Run the other direction. Anybody middleman in your ass, anybody fucking breadcrumbing you to death, run. Like, you know what I'm saying? People are giving you delusions out of their motherfucking mind right now. I'm telling you about the Arcturians and the Pleiadians. Give me a fucking break. And then acting like it's absolute truth. Like there's any way to prove it outside of their goofy ass fucking ideas. And then, you know, we come on here and fucking hit you 6 ways from Sunday with proof on everything we say, and we're still the bad guy. I don't get it, man. I don't get it. I don't get people, I guess. That's what it is. I just don't get people. I don't get why people suck so bad, you know, and why the good people like you guys get shit on too. And I know you do. You guys tell me. Don't understand that either, guys. You know, and I can say the good things I've received from this is I didn't even know there was good people that existed until I met you guys. You restored my faith in humanity to the limit it can be restored, you know, and you gave me kind of a mold or an example of what I wanted to be too, you know. When I seen the kindness and the generosity, you guys have no idea how good it was for a long time. You know, it's just been the last year, it's just descended into trash. People acting trashy, being trashy, just doing trashy shit, saying trashy shit, you know? It's not just on YouTube or Facebook, it's like everywhere. People just suck now. The vibes are low, but I've seen beautiful people along the way. Like they would just give you the shit off their back, man. Like you had a problem, like they would, you know, they talk to you about it. They had real fucking wisdom to share with you, you know? They didn't just want me to tell them everything either. That like they had ideas too. And they wanted to exchange ideas. You know, they didn't cuss me if I didn't reply to a email or a text right away. They just understood, yo, you know, dude's busy. You know, he gives his phone number out on the internet. I imagine there's fucking a lot of people doing texting him and shit. You know, like they just understood. So this is where I'm at with it. Um, I've had a beautiful run, loved it the entire time. for the most part, even though it was really hard, a lot of the shit I went through, but I'm so grateful that I did because it made me who I am today. And I have a sense of purpose, um, accomplishment, for doing it. But flat out, like, I am looking in another direction now and trying to do something else now. And if we can't get what we need to even get a goddamn computer, it's over for me. You know what I mean? It's over. We should have no issue doing that. How many thousands and thousands and thousands of people do I have following me on all these platforms? Right? This should be no issue. If everybody gave $1, dude, you know what I mean? Seriously, that simple, you know? And people guilting me for the subscription content. I'm over that too, man. I give so much content away for free. I don't care if you complain. I have to take care of myself, and you're not going to, right? When I just keep giving it away for free, you know, you're not, you know. So, and it's always the people who complain are the ones who don't help me. The ones who help me, they don't care either way because they help me. They're good to me all the time. Doesn't matter. They never complain. They're just like, yo, about time you did that, John. They hate to see you treat me the way you do too. You know. But if I'm loving myself, then I have to stand up for myself too, and I have to say what I really feel and really think. That's just me all the time. I know people are probably not going to receive this the best of ways, but it is what it is. I'm just being totally honest with you and totally transparent with you. And I'm telling you, like, I think God's putting it out there. And he's trying to show me something now. You know, he's trying to show me something. Like, I felt so compelled to just say, like, yo, if we can't get this done, it's over. And I think it's going to be over. Straight up. He's going to, like, I feel like that's what he's trying to show, you know? And it'll be it's gonna be your loss, my loss, all of our loss because we had a cool community and shit, man. So that's a shame. It's a shame, but I know new beautiful things will come out of it because that's how it always happens. That's how it always happens. It's never easy to change, never easy to experience change, you know. And anybody that's making stupid comments and thinking I'm trying to get rich, you're just fucking idiot too, you know. Uh, and you have no idea. I should be rich. I've got fucking tens and tens of thousands of followers, but I'm not even close. Right? I should be, but I'm not. And I work around the clock, man. All I want to do is get by, take care of myself, my babies, buy my kids Christmas, be able to replace a goddamn computer if it breaks, that kind of shit. So I don't think I'm asking too much. When I do hours and hours of research and then spend hours, on content, have an audience that doesn't feel the need to try to drag people to other channels. Go check out this and this, or um, people that want to, try to distract them from what I'm saying and shit like that. I'm so sick of that, man. So sick of it. You know, like I need mods and shit that are gonna actually moderate and keep people on point. For real, because people aren't doing it. The moderators are doing the shit too. So, you know, um, so that's where I'm at with everything, dudes. And I don't mean to be mean or sound mean or arrogant or whatever you're thinking about me right now. I'm just keeping it 100. 100. I'm just keeping it 100. So if we can't get what we need and get things taken care of, And that means that we need to move on. And I am moving on if we can't get what we need. Right? I don't have the means. I borrowed 35 fucking $1,000 last year, dude. You feel me? So I can't keep doing that kind of shit. So, and I put so much money every month. I bet I put more money in a channel in a month than you pay for your fucking house. Bet that, you know. So, and you know, work so hard. And I'm so good to everybody. I answer your calls, I reply to your text, everything I can to try to meet you halfway and try to show you I care. You know, so I'm asking you to show me that you care about not. I don't care if you care about me, I guess, but that you care about this too. This is going away, and I've told you time and time again, they're betting on you not giving a fuck, and they're winning that bet right now. Yeah, they're betting on you not giving a fuck. And I've said that for years to you. They're betting on us not coming together. They're betting on us not doing any fucking thing we're supposed to do and overcoming a motherfucking thing. We need real leaders in the world, people who have brains and hearts and are not fucking cowards. We need people to, right now, to step up and show other people how the fuck it's done. People are lost. They're without compass right now. Their heads spinning. They don't know who to believe, what to do, where to go. And anything with stability, anything that's good, anything that's true, it gets fucking destroyed. People will put their money into garbage non-stop. They will promote garbage non-stop. But something that could actually make a motherfucking difference, change a fucking life, and help a fucking person out, you you won't give it the time of day. Which says it says something about all of us. Maybe it's okay the world's being fucked up. Maybe we asked for it and we deserve it. Yep. And we could have any outcome we wanted, by the way. In case you didn't know, any outcome we wanted. We put our minds to it. We use our power. We can manifest. We can attract. We can do any motherfucking thing we want to do, and nobody or nothing can stop us. We think it, we dream it, we imagine it, we have it. We make it happen. We do it if we want to. And when it's all falling apart all around you, you're going to have to. All these people in that some of you guys are so fucking so fried, literally, from your television and everything else. The psyop after psyop and the propaganda. It's like you have no clue that your hubby's not going to be your hubby. Your wifey's not going to be your wifey because they've taken the mark of the motherfucking beast. In their nose, their forehead, and their right fucking hand. They won't be able to buy or sell. Why isn't the church telling you this? Because they're the church of Laodicea. They're called the apostate church, the end times apostasy, and they're misleading you too. They're ran by fucking Jesuits and Zionists. Save America. America is Babylon. If you actually believe in God, then you don't have a motherfucking country either. A nation is a flight of locusts. That's what comes up out of the bottomless pit. You were sold out by Trump as well. Matter of fact, he was probably the beast of Revelation, the first one, who took the fatal wound to the head and lived. Wound means a scourge or an affliction. In Greek, it's called plague, a plague to the head and lived. And they're about to turn the power over to the World Health Organization and the UN. That's when these kings of the earth are going to give their power over to the beast for 1 hour. Next on the agenda is collapse and war. The war could stem out of an asteroid impact, or at least the destruction of America probably will come from that, right? Like a large millstone thrown into the sea. With that same force, Babylon will be thrown down. The capital of the UN is New York City. They built that wall for tsunamis and tidal waves, nothing else. They know it's coming. It's been known. We're less than 100 miles away from pole shift. You also probably don't even know that. We have 2 North Poles, 2 South Poles. It's migrating towards Siberia. Why? Because there's a neutron star coming up from underneath the ecliptic, or a comet planet, whatever you want to call it. And it's repelling at the South Atlantic anomaly our poles. And that's what's got us tilted right now. That's why we're wobbling on our axis. And remember, Isaiah said the earth would wobble to and fro like a drunkard in the last days. That's really why. That's why the large hole in the ozone in the Arctic. That's why the temperature increases, the fires. That's why all the ice is melting. That's why all of it. The seismic and the volcanic activity, right? It's affecting the ionosphere, allowing cosmic rays and radiation to enter in, right? And they're going straight through like a cycle. Underneath the ground, plasmatic manifestations back up, reverberating the energy all the way around, turns into auroras because it's heated gas. The fireballs are probably plasmatic manifestations of said heated gas, just concentrated and trapped at the top of the magnetosphere due to the greenhouse gas effect. There is a such thing as climate change, but you need to ask yourself, what's the real fucking reason for it? And when all of this comes, the reason Russia is doing the 175,000 troops at Ukraine, remember they did 200,000 before live exercise. Now we're for real. And I told you months ago that the last wave would be the Omega wave. That's what Omicron means, right? It's micro. It's the lowercase version, or the little version of Omega, right? Which means the end. Delta, your deltoid, D wave. Delta brain waves mean REM sleep, right? You were put to sleep. They knew you were sleeping too, because whenever they started all of this, it was a toilet paper shortage. In gematria, it's synonymous with mind control. And anytime that there's ever a communist takeover, or anything like that. And this has happened over and over, right? The Red Dawn is China, but there's been the Red Wave and all of this. It's always red, right? Biden declared his victory on the 100th anniversary of the Bolshevik Revolution, known as the Russian Revolution. Same thing. Trump, trust the plan. Operation Trust, the anti-Bolshevik. That's why they created all the domestic terrorist stuff with Q, which was a psychological warfare operation. January 6th was a fucking hoax. You've been had. And because he was Cyrus, Babylon fell in his fourth year. He was the outsider who became king. He was minted on a gold coin. 70 years of Israel happened on the blood moon, the super blood moon, born on a blood moon, inaugurated on a blood moon, so on and so forth. And that's why when he left office, there were 30,000 fucking National Guard troops in the capital. It was surrounded by razor wire. And then they deployed the National Guard to all 50 states, including federal agents to all 50 states, called Operation Legend. Legend, heroes of old, men of renown, right? Nephilim. That's what that means, right? So now we have the image of the beast that is in there now, the king who was and is not and is still yet to come, right? Think about it, right? Think about it. Seriously. The 70 years, and that's the prophet Daniel, right? Prophet Daniel talked about the 70 and all of this too. Trump was the one to build the third temple. One, two, three. The abomination that causes desolation, standing in the place of God where it ought not to be. Biden declared through executive order that measles will be on the communicable diseases list because why? Those who take the mark get sores all over their skin when all of this starts happening. That's going to be quarantinable diseases. They're going to start putting the people who don't go along with this into camps. They're going to claim it's for public health and safety. And now this whole pass expires every 9 months. So what's that mean for you? Keep getting boosted, bitch. Right? Because that was always the plan. Remember the Future of Health Summit in October of 2019, where they were telling you we needed a virus and it had come out of China and avian flu. And we're going to change the perception of the way that people see it. That way it can be beamed down to their home. Because there's no such thing as viruses, really. Viruses are nothing more than frequencies, right? And what they're actually creating is a contact poison with a very short half life. It's here, right? Like it's all here. Month before the great sign, great American eclipse, putting an X over the United States or Babylon, representing judgment, dark at midday, happens again in 2024, you know? And I could go on and on and on about all these different things and tell you how fucked, you know, we are because everybody lies to us. Everybody keeps it from us because they want you to die. They want you to not be prepared. Okay? Prepare spiritually, period. And it doesn't mean pretending to be religious. You're fucked. You do that. Okay, that's the exoteric. God's not in the sky; He's inside of you. Right? And the story of Christ is you. By the way, I'm sure there was a man named Jesus. I'm positive of it, and I believe He's a Messiah. Positive of that as well. Right? Because He became God incarnate. You can become God incarnate too. You know, it's about becoming love at the end of the day. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. They'll see these things and they still won't change. You know, in the 144,000, any prophet or whatever, right? Anytime they never fucking listen either. Never. It's their arrogance, it's their pride, it's their ego that stops them from it. They never died to the world. That's why they're clinging on to it so fucking hard. They can't let go. They're scared. They're scared of death. They did not love their lives so much that they were afraid to die. He who loses his life will find it. And this is the Bible. This is the God they're supposed to worship. Yet, why do you call me Lord, Lord? Why do you call me teacher, teacher, when you didn't follow my teachings? Get away from me, you doers of iniquity. I never knew you. It all makes sense now. It all makes sense now. It doesn't matter your religion either. It's your heart. That's what God weighs. You know, you think he would cut out all the people in the world because they were taught, they were born into a place that taught them something different? Of course you would believe that, right? Because you think, oh, you're kind or you're is the best. Do you really think that Israel is a race of people, a color of our skin? Of course you do, because you're a racist sack of shit. Do you really think God is wrathful, vengeful, angry, and is going to bring destruction on everybody? Of course you do, because you're a wrathful fuck, right? People don't get it yet. Your God reflects your heart. What you believe is what it is. So some of y'all, damn, it's going to be rough unless you get it together and you figure it out that we're all in this together, that all their tactics are divide and conquer to separate us, and that it's love and it's acceptance that'll bring us together and that allows us to overcome, and that it's all about knowing yourself, right? The journey of self, growing self, right? And finding what makes you tick, finding what makes you happy, finding what fulfills you, and chasing it blindly. Pursue love above all, right? Don't sit around worried and scared, but be prepared. Have a plan. Be prepared, right? It only makes sense. But don't take for granted the things you have in life, the people you have in your life. And if you have an opportunity to be whole, to be balanced, to be in love, to be whatever, take it right now. Right? Don't wait. Quit waiting on something better to come along too. Right? People do that a lot. Instead of like, being thankful for what they have, like, okay, when something better does come along, go for it. But it's just crazy the way people are. And they don't value real love because they don't have none inside of them. You know, they probably weren't ever really loved by anybody in their life. Man's love is not the same as God's. Not the same. And when you come in contact with real love, it usually will blow your fucking doors off and scare you if you don't have it too. You'll run the other direction because it's that powerful, that strong, you know? And that's what the real magic is behind all of this. That's what creates life, right? And that's the power of God right there to create life is love. God is love. Be love, right? And then you're connected. And you have nothing to fear, nothing to worry about. You're just here to witness, right? Though 1,000 will fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand. Not a hair on your head, dude. Not a hair on your head. You guys are all beautiful, wonderful people, wonderful souls. And I love you dearly, and I appreciate everything that you do. Sincerely, I do. Um, I don't know when I'm gonna make another video, or even if I'm gonna make another video. To be totally honest with you, I am asking you guys, please step up, man. If you enjoy this channel, if you enjoy this community, I'm not gonna keep asking and stuff, man. I need help right now in a major way. Like, I put the fundraiser at 5K because that's, the price mine cost. But, if I got 2K, 2,500, I would just, get one for that just until I could save up for another. You know what I mean? But without, you know, um, we're screwed. We can't make the content we make. We can't run the operations the way that we need to. Nothing, nothing. So, and I'm not going to sit here for months without, trying to do it like this. I'm not. So if we can't do it, we can't do it. And I'm sorry I failed you. I tried, but I'm done. I'm over. That shows you, like, I have no business doing this if I can't do it. If I can't even raise enough to get it, something so important, you know. And I hate that I'm at the will of other people. That's why I'm trying to look for new opportunities. Because now my Christmas depends on this, my livelihood depends on this, and it's a bunch of people that really don't care about me, you know, for the most part. Those of you who do, thank you. I love you. I love you. Thank you. I see the super chat in there. Thank you, Junebug. You're not one of those shitty people though. You're a good person. That's what I mean. It's always the same people that give, the same people that are awesome. You know. So thank you for that. I appreciate that. I love you and I love all of you guys. You guys know who you are too. All right. So don't feel like I'm dogging you. You know who you are. You know. You guys are here every day in the chats. You're all the stuff. You know what I mean? Like you guys know who you are, and I know who you are too. You know, so thank you. Hit the thumbs up, leave a comment, leave a nasty one if you want. I don't care, and share this link, please. Go check out my TikTok too. It's tiktok.com/ and then a little mention the @ the best damn podcast. Check out the latest video I just dropped. Twitter at the real best damn, Instagram at best damn podcast, and you can support either through the PayPal um, fundraiser, which the link's in the description, or the Facebook fundraiser, the link is in the description, or you can donate the old-fashioned way through PayPal, Venmo, Patreon, Cash App, or through Facebook Messenger Pay on my personal Facebook. All those links are in the description. Make sure you subscribe and follow. I'm going to try to manifest positivity and attract, all the things that we need here. I hope you'll do the same with me. And, we'll see. We'll see. I believe that I know we can do this. If there was people out there who just, like people can, we could do this. We could, really. It's, do people want to help? It's just a question, right? So thank you for everything. I love all of you. Remember, Jesus is the truth, the way, and life. God bless you all. I love you, and I will see you next time. You'll have a wonderful weekend. Peace.